Hello and welcome to All 24 News Nightly News Program. I'm your host Islam Said, and up next are the top stories. Hamas Political Bureau Chief Ismail Haniyeh assassinated in Zionist airstrike in Tehran residence amid international pouring condemnations. Iran vows to retaliate and defend its sovereignty and calls it duty to avenge Haniyeh's death. Also coming up, 45 Palestinians killed and 77 injured on the 299th day of the Zionist genocide on Gaza. 2 journalists killed in airstrike near Haniyeh's home in Shati camp. An Algerian foreign minister emphasized that President Tebboun's response to France was firm and to Algeria to take necessary steps. Hello again and welcome to the program. Hamas announced on Wednesday that its political bureau chief Ismail Haniyeh was assassinated in a Zionist airstrike in Tehran. Haniyeh was targeted after attending President Masoud Pezeshkian's inauguration. The attack, reported by Iranian media, killed Haniyeh and his bodyguard at 2 a.m. local time. Funeral ceremonies will be held in Tehran on Thursday, followed by funeral prayer and burial in Doha in Qatar on Friday, with attendance of the public, factions, Arab and Islamic leaders, according to a Hamas statement. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas condemned the assassination of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh, calling it cowardly and dangerous development. According to the Palestinian news agency, Abbas called for unity and resilience among Palestinians and declared a day of mourning with the flags at half-mast. In a statement, Hamas mourned the assassination of its political bureau chief. The movement declared the act a full-fledged terrorist crime and a serious escalation, holding the Zionist entity and its supporters responsible for the grave regional consequences. The Qassam Brigade's Hamas military wing stated that the assassination of Haniyeh is a significant and dangerous event with major regional repercussions. They warned that the Zionist entity will face consequences for expanding its aggression and targeting resistance leaders, as well as violating regional sovereignty. Islamic Jihad stated the assassination of Ismail Haniyeh is a great loss for the Palestinian people and a dangerous escalation that will not achieve its goals, emphasizing through a statement that this crime will not deter Palestinians from resisting Zionist aggression. In a video message, Hamas representative in Algeria, Youssef Hamdan, expressed condolences for Haniyeh's assassination, praising his virtuous struggle and affirming it won't affect the movement's leadership or its defense of the Palestinian lands. Let's take a listen.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim.
In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful, we mourn the loss of our brave Mujahid Sheikh Ismail Haniyeh, leader of Hamas resistance movement, who was killed in a cowardly Zionist raid on his residence in Tehran after attending the inauguration of the new Iranian president. This assassination will not weaken our movement or shake the resolve of our leadership and consultative bodies. Our political and military leaders remain steadfast and united on the same path. This sacrifice, God willing, will fuel our victory and liberation, and the Zionist enemy will pay for this crime and its other crimes against our people. We offer our leaders before our soldiers to death, racing toward our Creator. May God reward us all greatly. To God we belong, and to Him we shall return. God is our Lord and our sufficient, the best protector and the best helper.
Iran's Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei vowed a harsh response against occupying Israel for the assassination of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran. According to the Iranian news agency, Khamenei stated that occupying Israel's actions have paved the way for severe punishment, emphasizing Iran's duty to avenge Haniyeh's death. For its part, President Masoud Pezeshkian stated that Iran will defend its territory and sovereignty, promising that the aggressors will regret their actions. The Iranian Ministry of Foreign Affairs announced investigations into the assassination of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh. According to the Iranian news agency, spokesperson Nasser Kanani stated that Haniyeh's martyrdom will strengthen ties between Iran and Palestine. Algeria has issued a robust condemnation of the assassination of Ismail Haniyeh. Algerian Foreign Minister Ahmed Attaf, during a press conference at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and National Community Abroad, described the assassination of Hamas political bureau chief as a cowardly and despicable terrorist act perpetrated by the Zionist occupation forces.
We meet at a very critical time, at a tragic turning point following the assassination of the late head of the political bureau of Hamas, Ismail Haniyeh, in Tehran. We strongly condemn this heinous terrorist act committed by the Zionist occupation forces, who continue its indifference and violation of the most basic human, legal, political, and ethical principles and rules.
The Algerian foreign minister asserted that the occupying Israel has adopted a scorched earth policy as a strategy to plunge the entire region into a series of wars. Let's take a listen.
It's truly a scorched earth policy aimed at plunging the entire region into a spiral of wars, benefiting only the Zionist occupier, while the losers are the region's security, stability, and the peace it aspires to.
Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan condemned the assassination of Hamas leader in Tehran. In a post on X platform, Erdogan stated that Zionist barbarism would not break the will of the Palestinian people or undermine their cause. Meanwhile, Qatar strongly condemned the assassination of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh, calling it a heinous crime and a blatant violation of international law. The Qatari Foreign Ministry warned that this escalation could lead to regional chaos, and undermine peace efforts. For its part, Jordan strongly condemned the assassination of Haniyeh, calling it an escalatory crime that will increase regional tension and chaos. Jordanian Foreign Ministry emphasized Jordan's rejection of violations of state sovereignty and international law, urging the international community to take immediate action to end the aggression against Gaza. The Russian Foreign Ministry, in a statement, called on all parties to exercise restraint and refrain from taking steps that might lead to the outbreak of a large-scale armed conflict in the Middle East. China also strongly condemned the assassination, warning it could lead to more regional instability. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Lin Jian called for an immediate ceasefire to prevent further escalation, reaffirming China's support for resolving disputes through negotiations and dialogue. Protests erupted in various West Bank cities following the announcement of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh's assassination. Large rallies took place in Ramallah, Al Khalil, and Nablus, with demonstrators calling for retaliation. A general strike also paralyzed Al-Quds and Tulkarm. 45 Palestinians were killed and 77 others injured on the 299th day of the Zionist genocide against Gaza. The Palestinian Health Ministry reported that the death toll has risen to 39,445, with 91,073 injured since October 7th. Journalist Ismail Al-Ghoul, a reporter for Al Jazeera, and a photographer Rami Rifi were killed in a Zionist airstrike near Ismail Haniya's home in a Shati camp, Gaza City. The government media office in Gaza reported that the number of journalists killed has risen to 165 since the start of the mass offensive on Gaza. Algeria's permanent representative to the United Nations said Israel had adopted a bloodshed and scorched earth policies in many places in the Middle East, leaving destruction behind it. Ammar bin Jama said the Zionist acts represented a blatant violation of the international law. Let's take a listen.
Israel has embraced a bloodshed, scorched earth policy, leaving destruction in its wake. A relentless tide of violence flooding Gaza, the West Bank, Yemen, Lebanon, Syria, and now the Islamic Republic of Iran. Where will this madness end? The savage bombardment of Gaza this morning, the deliberate targeting of civilians in Gaza, journalists in Gaza, targeting civilians in Beirut, the suffocating occupation of Palestinian, Syrian, and Lebanese lands. These are not just illegal acts. They are a moral abomination that stains the conscience of humanity. Let us be clear. These are not acts of self-defense. They are a brutal aggression and a flagrant defiance of justice.
Ammar bin Jama urged the international community not to remain silent over the massacres happening in Gaza, calling for an urgent ceasefire.
The international community must not remain silent. Defined by indifference, as innocent bloodshed is spilled and international law is shredded into pieces. With utmost urgency, we call for an immediate and conditional ceasefire in Gaza and the lifting of the inhuman Gaza blockade. A ceasefire in Gaza remains the key of stability in the Middle East. We call for the complete and irrevocable end to Israeli occupation of Palestinian, Syrian, and Lebanese territories. We call for full accountability for the occupying powers' heinous war crimes and egregious human rights violation. We call for an unwavering compliance with the all UN Security Council resolution. Colleagues, we must act decisively to end this violence and build a lasting peace in the region.
Algerian Foreign Minister Ahmed Attaf announced plans to propose a UN Security Council meeting next September to discuss the International Court of Justice's opinion over the occupation on the Palestinian territories and to condemn occupying Israel's rejection of a Palestinian state. Attaf highlighted recent developments in occupied Palestine, including the so-called Zionist Knesset that refused to support a Palestinian state, which Attaf views as essential for peace in the Middle East.
We have agreed in principle to invite the Security Council to meet in September, as the current summer vacation period is not suitable for such a meeting. In September, Slovenia, which recently recognized the Palestinian state, will hold the Security Council presidency. Additionally, a future summit with presidents and foreign ministers will take place, making it an ideal time for the Security Council to meet at a high level of representation. We are working daily on this file, preparing to benefit from the advisory opinion of the International Court of Justice and to condemn the Zionist entity's stance on the establishment of the Palestinian state.
Hezbollah announced the death of a military commander, Fouad Shukr, killed in a Zionist airstrike on Beirut's southern suburbs. Secretary General Hassan Nasrallah will address the political response during Shukr's funeral on Thursday. Algerian Foreign Minister Ahmed Attaf confirmed that the President Abdelmajid Tebboun's response to France's recent move regarding Western Sahara was both strict and precise. During a press conference in Algiers on Wednesday, Attaf disclosed that the President Macron had briefed Tebboune on Paris's decision during their June 13th meeting at the G7 summit in Bari in Italy.
البيان الرسمي تم إطلاع السيد رئيس الجمهورية.
The President of the Republic was informed about this in advance by his French counterpart, Emmanuel Macron, during their meeting on June 13th, which was more than a month and a half ago on the sidelines of the G7 summit in the Italian city of Bari. The President's response was firm, resolute, and very accurate.
ودقيقا للغاية.
Attaf affirmed that Algerian President sees the new French position as more just a continuation of past tenses, noting it worsens the deadlock in the Sahara issue created by the autonomy plan for over 7 years.
اعتبر أولاً أن الموقف الفرنسي الجديد.
Firstly, he considered that the new French position is not merely a replication of previous announced stances, but goes far beyond them, as it focuses on the exclusivity of the autonomy plan as the basis for resolving the conflict in Western Sahara, and explicitly recognizes what is called Moroccan sovereignty over Western Sahara. It clearly incorporates the present and future of Western Sahara within the framework of the alleged Moroccan sovereignty.
في إطار السيادة المغربية المزعومة.
Minister Attaf confirmed that Algeria will take necessary steps to reject France's dangerous move in the region. He noted that Algeria will assess its response, with President Tebboun's upcoming visit to France being part of this evaluation.
القرار الفرنسي.
The French decision supports the colonial reality imposed on the Sahrawi people and undermines recent diplomatic efforts by the United Nations and other international parties to revive the political process to resolve the Western Sahara conflict. France's complete alignment with Morocco disqualifies it from contributing to diplomatic efforts to resolve this issue, either within the Security Council as a permanent member or outside this central UN body.
الأممية المركزية.
The Algerian Foreign Minister described France's recognition of Morocco's sovereignty over Western Sahara as a gift from those who have no right to those who do not deserve it. Attaf emphasized that Paris views the Moroccan autonomy plan as the sole solution, ignoring alternative solutions in line with international legitimacy, which France helped draft and adopt.
إن الجديد.
What is new in what France has undertaken is reflected in three matters. all of which contradict with what this country claims in terms of support for international efforts, support for the role of the Security Council, and support for the efforts of the personal envoy of the Secretary General of the United Nations. The first matter is France's decision to recognize the alleged Moroccan sovereignty over Western Sahara, a step that can be described with a simple phrase that I believe summarizes in its content the legal value of this recognition, which is a gift of who doesn't possess to who doesn't deserve.
هبة من لا يملك لمن لا يستحق.
From this perspective, France's total and absolute support for Morocco's autonomy plan represents an attempt to revive this project from the ashes and revive its inherent goals, which are goals that are completely linked to hampering efforts of a political settlement of the Western Sahara issue and perpetuating the colonial fait accompli imposed on the Sahrawi people.
على الشعب الصحراوي.
Attaf stressed that the French move aims to eliminate the right to self-determination granted internationally to Sahrawi people by aborting the organization of a referendum for this purpose.
هذه خطوة أولى.
This is just the first step. We are analyzing the implications of the French decision and will take necessary actions through which we express our rejection of this dangerous step taken by France, which jeopardizes the region and the ongoing efforts, especially in these circumstances. It's undoubtful that the planned state visit by our president will be reassessed in light of these developments. It is no surprise that the French step has not positively contributed to achieving this visit.
هذه الزيارة.
The Algerian foreign minister said France's full support for Morocco's autonomy plan is an attempt to revive a proposal that is inadequate for resolving the Western Sahara conflict.
القرار الفرنسي.
The French decision, despite its goals that serve the colonial reality in Western Sahara, is impossible for it to change the international legal data of the Western Sahara issue. The Sahrawi issue remains so far in the eyes of international law and decolonization issue. The Sahrawi issue remains registered on the agenda of the UN Decolonization Committee. The Sahrawi issue is still submitted to the UN Security Council. The Sahrawi issue continues to enjoy a UN mission to organize a referendum in the region and a personal envoy of the UN Security General whose mission is to seek to achieve a political solution that guarantees the right of the Sahrawi people to self-determination.
لتحقيق حل سياسي يضمن حق الشعب الصحراوي في تقرير مصيره.
Regarding the situation in Mali, the Algerian foreign minister affirmed that the conflict cannot be resolved militarily, but only through a political solution.
المعطى الأول.
The first data is that there is no military solution to the conflict in Mali, a conflict between brothers. The solution is a political solution and can't be but a political solution. The second element is that the advantages and upsides of the Algiers Agreement, that it preserved Mali's sovereignty and its territorial integrity and preserved national unity in Mali. Relinquishing this agreement will jeopardize all these gains.
سيضر بكل هذه المكتسبات.
The Algerian Foreign Minister Ahmed Attaf met with the Organization of Islamic Cooperation Secretary General Hassan Brahim Taha to discuss the Palestinian issue amid Zionist genocide in Gaza and regional tensions. They also reviewed preparations for upcoming OIC events and ways to enhance cooperation. On Wednesday, Algeria's Constitutional Court announced the final list of candidates for the presidential elections scheduled for September 7th. Court President Omar Belhaj revealed the candidates Youssef Ouchiche, Abdelmajid Tebboune, and Abdelali Hassani Sharif.
After deliberation, the Constitutional Court decided the following: accepting and approving the final list of candidates for the presidential elections slated for September 7, 2024, according to alphabetical order of their last names in line with Article 59 of the system governing the work methods of the Constitutional Court as follows. First, Ouchiche Youssef, representing the Socialist Forces Party. Second, Tebboune Abdelmajid, independent candidate. Third, Hassani Sharif Abdelali, representing the Movement of Society for Peace.
The Algerian Foreign Prime Minister Nadir Arabawi arrived in Nouakchott, Mauritania as the representative of President Abdelmajid Tebboune to attend the inauguration of Mohamed Ould Ghazouani as President of Mauritania. He was welcomed at Nouakchott's international airport by his Mauritanian counterpart, Mohamed Ould Bilal Masoud, along with ministers of foreign affairs, interior, defense, and justice ministers. That's the end of our news program for tonight. For more updates, check our social media platforms. Thank you for tuning in, and bye for now.